Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Natalie and I primarily make videos on motherhood and lifestyle as a stay-at-home mum to my twin boys who will soon be 2.5, which I cannot believe. So today's video is going to be a little bit different, but it's something I really wanted to sit down and share, as I feel like it's had a huge impact on how I view motherhood, but it wasn't always that way. And I thought if this could just help one person, then I'd be better off making it. So I hope you all enjoy. I hope you find something of value in it. And yeah, I hope I can explain it and justify what I mean, because it's kind of been hard to really analyze what I'm trying to portray and what I'm trying to explain, but I think I've just about done it. So just let me know in the comments if you enjoy this one, and if you do, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe. But before I get into the main content of the video, I do just want to give you a little bit of a background story just to explain how this video came about, basically. So yes, let's rewind a little bit. Some of you that have been following me for a while will remember this, but others maybe that are new here, they don't know my story. So just under a year ago, I guess, it was May of 2022, I went to a wedding up in Seattle, and it was my first weekend away from my family, my first overnight stay away from my twin boys, or even being away and alone in general since before I found out I was pregnant, before COVID happened. I got pregnant just at the very beginning of COVID, so throughout my pregnancy and throughout the first year of the boy's life, we were literally locked down. So there'd been no reason for me to go anywhere. I literally had not been away from my family other than to get my nails done or my hair cut or something for 2 full years. 2 years since I'd done anything alone, 2 years since I'd stopped working, having an income, and having a purpose for each day. And don't get me wrong, I had a great time over this stage of being a new mother, and I love my boys. Of course, the first year of motherhood is hard, and I believe it's hard for everyone in so many different ways. And it definitely was hard for me, having my first pregnancy and babies through COVID, not being able to see any family, being miles and miles away. Just a little side note, I'm from the UK and I live in California, so all my family are back in the UK. So no one got to meet the boys for that first year, no one got to meet them when I just had them, no one saw me through my pregnancy. There was a lot of things that were hard for me to process. But a year had gone by, the boys were 1.5, and I feel like I was through the worst, and I'd got into a routine and I was fine. But looking back, this was probably the tipping point for me. So I just got back from this wedding, and it was Memorial Day weekend, and we were going to a friend's who was having a pool party, and somebody at the pool party asked me how I was and how the weekend away had been, and I just completely broke down. I started telling them how I felt like I was back in my old body. I was back in my old self. I could have full conversations with people. I didn't have to look for this child, check this child was okay. I wasn't distracted by anything. I got to just sit in a restaurant in peace and quiet. I got to go for a drink. I got to do things I wanted to do without any distractions. And I feel like I almost morphed back into my old self, and I hadn't realized how much that I had missed as well as being a new mum. And I guess when I was explaining that to her, it hit me that I didn't understand how I was going to combine my old life and my new life and be this new person. And I know a lot of people talk about losing your identity when you become a mum, but it didn't feel like that. This is where I struggled to explain how I felt. I just felt like I missed so much, and that's what I thought the problem was. I thought I just missed things I used to do, but I also felt like I loved being a mum as well. So I felt like there was something missing, and there needed to be a way that I could combine everything and enjoy everything as a whole, and not feel like there was 2 separate people, if you get me. So a little while later after this, I cannot remember when it was, but I heard somewhere that 75% of women are overwhelmed by housework. And I started to wonder if that was my problem. Was it just my everyday routine that was getting me down, or was it the things that I was doing that I was struggling with? I looked at myself and I found that I had no routine, no structure to my day. I wasn't focused on my relationship. I was literally just surviving and in survival mode. I thought I had everything together, but I look back and I definitely didn't. And this was just part of my learning curve. I don't regret it. I think I had to go through that first 1.5 years to really be sufficient and a content housewife and mum, and find this new normal, I guess. So this video is kind of like my pursuit into being a happy and content housewife, but also a happy and content mum. The things I've done to change how I felt and how I've grown to enjoy the everyday. I definitely don't have this all sorted yet. I'm still working on a lot of these things, and every day is different, but I feel like it's just drastically got better with these changes. And yeah, I just want to say every day I am striving to be a better mum, a better wife, and just a better person in general. But these things that I've changed have definitely helped me. So I've tried to divide them into categories, I guess, and I think we've got about 6 altogether. So I'm going to run through those with you and basically just tell you things that I've changed, things I've implemented, what's worked, and I'll try and give you examples as well of my lifestyle and the things that directly affected me. But I'm hoping if you're struggling with something, or you're not really sure what it is, but you just feel this sense of being lost, hopefully some of this will help you. So let's get started. So first up, this is going to be probably the most important, your mental state. I really believe if you can fix this, you will succeed. You could be a complete minimalist, or you could have all the help you could possibly need to look after your kids or to do the housework or whatever it is that you're struggling with. Or you could just be very structured and organized, but without being mentally equipped, it's just going to be hard. Ever since I became a mum, I slowly started to realize how little time I had for myself, and I feel like I felt in this trap of having like a victim mentality. This approach of like, mum life is so hard and mumming is so hard, and you hear this so much in society, and I just found myself grumbling and complaining about all these little things. For example, this could be things like your husband never helps you pick up around the house, or your children never do what they say, or just thinking that you have no time for yourself, no time for self-care. And then these feelings turn into resentment, and then they can travel down to your kids and your relationship, and all of that frustration and anger, just, it's not helping anybody, right? So I started to think about how I would have felt 10 years ago looking at my life now. I used to want a dream of being a stay-at-home mum, being able to stay at home and raise my kids and not have to go to work and support my husband and my family and just be a housewife. I wanted to be fortunate enough to be able to do that and be the person that just helped my family. I always loved the idea of helping everybody first, putting their needs above mine, and I imagined doing that with happiness, but somehow it got to this point where I just felt that I was moaning about that all the time. I found myself complaining to friends, or just feeling down about how I had to pick up the toys every evening, or how I never had any time away from my children. And I guess I imagined being somebody else in my family viewing me like that, and I thought if I could do this stuff with a happy mindset, how different that would make everybody else feel. And I can't remember where I heard this, but it was changing your mindset from I have to do these things to I get to do these things. I get to walk my dog every day. I get to do the dishes every day. I get to put my kids to bed every day. Just changing your mindset from I have to I get to, it makes you view certain tasks in a completely different way. I feel like it makes you just such a nicer person in general. People around you will notice it, and they're more likely to help you. And yeah, I just think you definitely appreciate things that you may see as a task right now or a chore, and see them as something you're grateful for. Okay, the next thing that we're going to talk about is just simplifying everything. Simplifying your home, simplifying your life. I'm really trying to achieve a less is more approach. As some of you will have watched my New Year's video, and one of them was just to be okay with having more slow days. That is part of this. The world we live in now is just so go, 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 so fast paced. There's so many options for everything, and sometimes it's so easy to get swept away with all the things that are possible rather than just what's in front of you. So I've been looking for practical ways to enjoy being a mum and taking care of my home, making it easy, simple, manageable, things that I can get satisfaction from instead of feeling overwhelmed. For example, some of the things that I've been doing, I'm currently going through old toys and clothes, which you may see some of this in some of my next videos coming up, but I'm trying to get rid of a lot of things, donate items, especially things that haven't been used for 6 months or worn for 6 months to a year, things that are broken, just things that are unloved around the house. I feel like it's very, very easy to build up stuff that we don't necessarily need and hoard, and we are quite minimalistic anyway just because we've moved so much. But even still, the cupboard is full of toys that I very rarely rotate in and out. It's like, why am I keeping them? What am I keeping them for? If we have another child, we're so likely to get new toys unless they're of really, really good quality or something that is absolutely loved. So we're trying to do that. And I've also started writing a list of things that need to be done every day. This has really, really helped with me simplifying tasks throughout my day, especially things that need to be done every day. We need to vacuum every day because of the dog. Maybe every other day I need to do laundry. I need to do the dishwasher every day. I need to do pickups around the house throughout the day. And one thing that I never used to do that I'm now implementing is trying to ask the boys to help. They love helping, and it doesn't feel like a chore for them. Sometimes it's very hard for me because it takes double the amount of time, but why not teach them now? If they're willing to help, what am I losing other than a little bit of time? And if I'm not in a rush, like I always feel like I'm in a rush, if I just take a step back and realize we're not in some huge rush, if we're 10 minutes late, it's fine. They get to help me. They're in a better mood. We're all in a better mood. So just trying to simplify everything, simplify tasks. And kind of joining onto that is, I heard on another video by a girl called Milena Ciciotti. If any of you follow her, you may have seen this video, but she was talking about having a home reset, and I love this idea and I'm going to try and take it on board. But she said that everything in your home should have a home. This I really, really need to do because we have just floating objects. A lot of things don't have a home, and that's how clutter builds up very easily. So I'm currently working on that, where if everything has a home, to do a quick tidy up of a room or your house really shouldn't take as long. But when things don't and you're just shifting them around from place to place to clean and stuff, it makes it a lot harder. The next thing we're going to talk about is dressing for success. Ever since COVID came, and I want to blame COVID, but I also don't know if it is just being a mum, I feel like I've become more and more lazy with my appearance and getting ready for the day. Especially when I was pregnant through COVID, I didn't leave the house much, so I stopped wearing makeup, and I also didn't enjoy putting makeup on when I was pregnant, to be honest, so that was part of it. But I just slowly stopped making so much effort, and it was my natural inclination to think, oh, no one's going to see me today, so why should I bother? But it really makes such a huge difference to how I feel, and also how much I get done. If I get up and I get dressed and I brush my hair and I put like a tiny bit of concealer and mascara on or something, it does wonders to my mindset. I feel like I'm more likely to want to get out, go for a walk, do this, do that, clean this, feel like I've accomplished something in a day. So we're working on that. Don't get me wrong, I don't always achieve it, and some days I like to just be like, I'm gonna sit on the couch today and be in my pajamas all day and have a lazy day. But when I do that and I really think, did I enjoy it? Most of the time it's no. I much prefer to get up, make myself feel like a person and that I have a purpose and that we have jobs to do in a day. The next thing is being fit and strong physically. This is gonna be something that I'm working on my whole life, because I don't think I'll ever reach a level where I'm like, I am so fit and strong and physically in the shape that I'd love to be. I know this is gonna be an everyday work in progress, but it's something that I'm really trying to do. Just live a healthier lifestyle. If I can get a really good sleep routine going, if I can monitor what I'm eating, stop picking on the boys' food. Again, we mentioned this in our New Year goals video. I'm trying to get more outside hours. I'm trying to walk the dog maybe for a little bit longer every day. These are all things that I'm working on, and just to maintain a healthier lifestyle really. And the end goal is just to be physically fit for my kids. I want to be able to chase them around the park. I want to be a grandma who's healthy and flexible and able to do a lot with grandkids. So I'm trying to look in the future as well as just now. As we're running through all these, I'm realizing that actually every point that I mention all go back to the first point. If you implement these, they all help with your mental state. So it just shows how important your mental state is and how much actually affects that. So the next thing that I want to mention is creating systems. This could be many different things, but what I suggest you do is write down some of the things that stress you out. That could be something like meal planning for the week, laundry every day. Mine probably, I'd say my biggest stressor was the kitchen. I feel like the kitchen in our house is where the most mess seems to collate every day. I seem to clean it and then more stuff comes, more stuff appears, something comes in the sink, or something, the trash becomes full, or just this constantly stuff that just seems to appear from some house member. And I just feel like the kitchen is that one place that I'm just, every time I go there, there's more stuff that needs putting away or juggling or washing up or drying, or something needs to happen. So what I've implemented is every morning I will empty the dishwasher, and every night I'll put the dishwasher on, even if it's not completely full. I used to be under the impression it had to be completely full to put it on, but what I find is then it will get full the next day and I'll have dishes in the sink, and it just makes everything harder to keep on top of. So if we do that every day, less mess seems to collate in the kitchen. Something else that we were struggling with and that was stressing us out was having a home for everything, which I'd mentioned. We're still working on that. But another would be rushing activities for the boys. I think I may have touched on this in another video, but I found that with all the meals that they have to fit in, because they sleep such a large chunk in the middle of the day, I'd find that I was always rushing from an activity to get back for lunch or get back for dinner or get out after their nap. And I've tried to be less worried about food and more worried about sleep. So sleep seems vitally important for them over getting a good meal. They'll just wake up and eat a good meal. So if I know we're going out for a majority of the morning, I'll try and take something for them to eat that can act as a lunch while we're out, so that I don't have to rush home, get a meal down them and then get them to bed, and just try and limit the stress or what's making me feel hectic in the day and making me feel like I need to rush activities. And then what else for the systems? I guess the other thing that we're trying to implement is the less toys, the simplifying everything. For the boys, we're trying to just have less toys. We recently did a rotation in our playroom and we had way less toys. I'd say I've probably got about 10 to 15 items out in the whole of this playroom, and they have played so much better. The first couple of days they were actually asking for more toys and I was like, this is not working, but now they've totally forgotten, and I have really noticed how much longer they play with one individual toy over when they had way more out in here and it was much more hectic and busy. So I definitely recommend that if you're struggling with toys in your living areas and space. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about, and sometimes I struggle to explain this, so bear with me, but that's viewing motherhood as a job. Now, I don't mean that I find it like a job. There's a lot of it that I absolutely love, but for the parts that I don't love, I do try and view them as a job. Even though I'm not getting a paycheck at the end of the month, financially I'm not helping in any way, and sometimes that feels hard to think about, but I'm allowing my husband to go and work all the hours that he needs to work, so I am helping in that respect. But yeah, I guess I do try and see it as a job, and it helps me in a way that I structure my days or my weeks. If I have a plan like I would if I was at work, I find that I'm way more efficient with my time. In my diary, I will track things I want to try and achieve by the end of the week, some of the jobs that I want to do, and I'll also try and dedicate certain hours of each day to spend with my boys, where it's just one-on-one time with me, whether we're doing a sensory activity or whether we're playing outside, where they have my full attention. That way I then feel like I can leave them after I've spent that time with them to go and do some sort of job or chore that I need to get done, and they're way more content and happy playing with each other after I've given them my sole attention and focus. So yeah, I highly recommend that if you are struggling with motherhood and finding a routine and structure, try and look at the hours of the day, the things that you do, and treat it like a job, at least for the parts that you're finding hardest, because if you can get those done in the time slots that you've allowed yourself, the other hours kind of become like free time or activity time, and you can see what you may want to get done personally for yourself or with your kids, and you can add that in, and you can make your weeks different. They don't always have to be the same, but it's really helped me, and it's helped again improve my mindset and feeling like I have a purpose to each day and I'm achieving something by the end of the week. So yeah, I think that summarizes everything. I hope this makes sense. I know it's kind of confusing and there's a lot of information in there, and I was struggling to know how to name this video because we're touching on a lot of stuff about housework and being a housewife, but I know a lot of people don't like that term. But also we're just talking about motherhood and being a mum, and I feel like they overlap so much. So yeah, this has just really helped me in the last 8-9 months or so, and I feel like I'm at a place where, yeah, I've still got a lot of work to do in some respects, but we're just really enjoying the time at the moment, and things seem very less overwhelming. I don't feel like I'm sinking with small little tasks that I have to do, and yeah, just overall life feels a little bit lighter. So I really hope this helps some of you if you're struggling like I was, and I look forward to hearing some of your comments in the section below. Let me know if you have any questions about anything, and we'll see you in the next video next week. Bye guys.